I want to start with a compliment, which is that this year marks 30 years of you being in Tool. Firstly, I just
Oh,
want to say congratulations because there's no small feat to continue making music with people for that long. Well done.
mhm. Thank you so much. I know I kind of someone said that the other day, and I was a little surprised. I hadn't really thought about it. I'd seen some anniversaries of albums come up, but I hadn't really put it in perspective of me being in the band for 30 years. But yeah, that is a fact. November, I think, will be 30 years when we'll be in Australia.
Indeed, just before. I'm curious,
Yeah.
Justin, how does year 30 of playing in Tool compare to year one?
Ooh, I mean, completely different. Year one was just a roller coaster. Like a just a terrifying thriller. Just kind of holding on by the seat of my pants. No, uh, like confidence. No idea how to pull it off. The thing exploded too as soon as I joined the band. I think the first album that I was involved in, it went to number one in the charts in America, and suddenly we were a big deal. I mean, they were already a big deal, but then it was a massive deal, and it was a bit of a leap for me. Like it was, yeah, from sort of like from 0 to 60 very quickly. And these days, 30 years in, um, it's a lifetime basically. I've lived my life with these guys and doing this now, and it feels great because you can finally feel quite confident about it. It's like I actually pulled this off, and this is really what I do. Like there were years and years of I guess a lot of artists have self-doubt and stuff like that, and feel insecure about you create something or you make some art and you release it into the world and you are interested about what people think of it and stuff. But now it's become a different thing where people almost want us to carry on doing it. You feel the support from people that have supported us for that long. That the reason we're really still together and successful is that people have championed it and said, "Yeah, this really makes me happy." Like keep doing it. And even when it gets really weird, they're like, "Yeah, that's what we were expecting. Something that was unexpected." So that feeling's really different now, where it feels right. Like there's some kind of like it feels justified to be doing this, and it feels, I mean, because well, I'm 55. Danny's 10 years older than me. We're all, we're over the hump, and it's basically the biggest chunk of my life we've been doing this. So yeah, it's different.
Yeah, well, long may it continue. I believe the
Yeah,
last
thank you.
I believe the last time you were on stage, Justin, was last month in Birmingham. I'm curious,
Yeah.
how did approaching that show differ to the usual Tool live setup?
Ooh, well, for starters, it was such a crazy thought to be included in that lineup and to be put in put on the bill like that and given 20 minutes to celebrate Ozzy. Um, and then, we were a little late to the show, so we had a few choices, but actually Maynard's choice was always Hand of Doom, the Black Sabbath song that we did. So the biggest part of it was really learning a song that I'd never played before. I mean, the guys are all massive Black Sabbath fans. I'm a massive Ozzy fan, but I'd never really listened to that song a lot. Um, so it was a lot of preparation of listening to it, immersing myself in the song, talking to the guys about the feel of it and how we would approach it. How far we should deviate from the original. Should we make it our own? Should we try and be close to the original? And just basically approaching it with a lot of respect, knowing what it was all about, and also doing something like that alongside all our peers that also had the same challenge. Everyone else was going to play a few songs and play a Black Sabbath song. So um, it was quite serious in a way for me. I just wanted to pull it off. I wanted to do a lot of preparation and feel really confident going in, that I was ready to do it. Because I didn't want to be standing up there with my pants around my ankles and just like I wish I'd have learned this better, or I wish I'd spent more hours doing it. So that's really it. It really took a lot of preparation and thought, you know.
Tool shows are dark and mysterious always. Were there any hesitations around knowing that you'd be playing in full daylight for a change for that show?
Well, I didn't think about that too much, and then when it went down, it was seriously crazy because it was 6 o'clock. I mean, it was England as well, so it was full sunshine. And not just the fact that we don't even really play. A lot of those bands play stadiums. We don't really. We've done some festivals in stadiums, but to have 45,000 people just standing there looking at you is one thing. But then to have, you know, all the Rage Against the Machine and the Metallica guys and Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know, whoever's there on the side of the stage watching, um, was another thing, you know. And it was basically one of those moments where I mean, I went skydiving once. I jumped out of a plane once, and it was a bit like that, where there's no turning back, you know. They're like, all right, it's time to go, guys. And they had a revolving stage. So we were all set up and they turned it around, put our amps out there, and it's like, everything was on a clock, you know, everything was on a tight schedule. And we just walked out. And then it's just kind of like, all right, you hope that all the work you've done and the preparation you put into it and the thought of how you're gonna pull this off, you know, is okay. And it turned out great. You know, it was enough. I was proud of how we approached it because it came off better than it could have done, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there, but I saw some of the footage and you guys sounded amazing, which is the main thing, but also it was just really
Yeah.
unique and novel to see you guys playing without the usual, I guess, smoke and mirrors of a Tool show. That was a nice change, I thought.
Well, that was the other thing. It was live streamed, which I just sort of shut it out of my head, but I think there were 5.8 million at one point during, I don't know, that was during us, but like at the height of the streaming, there were a lot of people watching it. And I kind of knew that, but you have to shut that out of your head. Um, and I think it taught us something about ourselves, you know, that we are capable of kind of stepping up and being a bit braver maybe than we've been, you know.
Hmm. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. Switching gears, when you see Australia on your forward touring schedule, what comes to mind?
Mhm. Oh my God. Basically the last time we were there, which is eons ago when you know, the whole COVID thing started. But I think that was the beginning of the end. We'd spent all this time writing an album. We'd finally released it, and we started down with you guys, you know, and in New Zealand, and then it was like done. So it's kind of this strange void, you know, from then to now, where we've just and I don't know, we started to get back into it. We started to tour again. We went to Europe and stuff. We even went to South America, but somehow we haven't been back there yet. So it used to be quite a common thing for us to go to Australia. You know, it was like part of the cycle. You know, we do an album, we go because you guys are massive supporters of our band and New Zealand too. You know, so it's been strange not to go there.
Hmm.
Um, so it feels uh, quite a celebration in a way to me. I'm very excited to go down there. And I think we're doing quite a thorough trek across the country as well this time. So that's exciting.
That's right. You're headlining Good Things Festival for three shows, but you've also got three of your own headline shows that will be announced closer to December. I'm curious, from your perspective, is there a preference between the two of playing a large outdoor festival versus doing your own shows indoors?
No preference. I like this is ideal for me because we're doing a festival and we're doing our own shows. They're two different beasts, you know, they're completely different. You know, the festival involves people that don't necessarily come to see us, you know, they come in to see a bunch of different bands. So you kind of like think about that and you make the set a little more user friendly, you know, um, not quite so self-indulgent. But then when we do our own shows, we got, you know, people that love our band are coming to see our show. So we go all the way and we can really dive in and do some real Tool things and give them the full, you know, the full in-depth dive into, you know, the Tool world. And we can play songs that maybe are a little more challenging or a little more self-indulgent, you know, but they're for our fans. So they're, it seems to be there's a license to do that when we do our own shows. Whereas at the festivals, we try anyway to be a little more considerate that there's people there that maybe haven't even heard us, or maybe they've been there all day, and like not just kind of like drag them through the mud, just give them a little bit of a break, give them a little taste of it. But obviously it's fun doing a festival because it's a little more short and sweet. There's a different atmosphere. People are covered in mud. People are like, yeah, a bit more rowdy. So yeah, they're very different. But we get to do both this time, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Whenever you're speaking with journalists about all things Tool, Justin, do you come to dread that point in the interview when you get asked about new music?
A little bit, a little bit, but it's fine. It's fine. I mean, the fact is, I'll tell you, we're working on new music. I don't know when we're going to finish it. We've been working on stuff on and off for a couple of years, and we're always working on new music. I was in the studio with Danny last week, banging out some ideas. Um, but we don't, I always say this: art doesn't really have a schedule. You know what I mean? Like you can't force it, and if you do, it tends not to work out so great, So I think for especially in our band, it's just the way it works with our band. It's a different kind of alchemy. Um, and I think we've all learned, Manny's got his side projects, Danny does a bunch of different stuff, Adam does different shit, and I've got my stuff, and we've learned to sort of pad out the time when people need that space with busying ourselves with other things, which you know, actually influence what we do when we come back together as well. So it kind of gives us a little headroom
Hmm.
um, that speaks to the new stuff that we do when we come back together. Um, so yeah, I mean yeah, it is a bit of a weird question because everyone's always taking the piss, like it takes so long for us to make music, but I'm proud of everything we've done, and I don't like 13 years. They always talk about 13 years. It seems like a week to me, when we were working on that stuff every day, we were grinding away at it. And it doesn't really matter in the end. If you do anything that's decent, even if it's one thing, it's worth it. So
I could see how those kind of questions could be annoying from both journalists and fans at some level to be asked about new music, but I think you could potentially flip it into a compliment where, as you well know, one of the hardest things for any artist working today is to get people interested in new music. That's never been an issue for Tool fans. Rather than people chasing the familiar, what they already know, they're always wanting to know what's next. Do you agree that could be flipped into a compliment?
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think it's more interesting to take a long time to find something unique than just to keep repeating yourself. Um, and no offense to anyone that, I guess let's just call it pop music, right? They just keep churning out the hits. I mean, people love that stuff. So there's a place for it, and there's a reason that there's people that are good at that. But that's not us. We're into trying to create something unique that hasn't been heard before as musicians, as a band. Um, and that's sometimes it gets harder and harder. Sometimes it just comes to you, like some days you're like, whoa, what's this? And you like play it to your friends, and they're like, whoa, that's it's amazing. It just comes out of the blue, but you can't really. It's not a formula. You know what I mean? There is no formula. And if anything, the formula is just to carry on living life and exploring and letting it come in from your life experiences. I think with us, that's the way it works a lot more. Um, so yeah, but I get what you're saying. It is a compliment that people are excited for new music. But we
Mm.
just don't want it to be on a schedule. We want it just to be good. You know what I mean? We want to be proud of it, and we want to all agree that this is what we want to share. So, like I was saying, the side projects are a really good way of us alleviating that time, and kind of like keeping the fitness up, but like not pushing the whole issue.
Hmm. In terms of hits, is there a part of you that misses certain songs that have been seemingly retired from the set list? Songs like Reflection, Lateralis, Eulogy?
Uh, I mean, we try and bring stuff back all the time. Like I don't know, I haven't really figured out with Maynard and the other guys. We haven't figured out our set list yet for Australia, but I'm sure it'll involve bringing something new back into the rhythm. It's lovely visiting those things because you kind of see them in a different way. And obviously, a few times we brought songs back and reworked them, which is always fun too. Um, but I'm happy with whatever everyone agrees to do. I'm just I'll even if I played a song like whatever Schism like a million times, every time I play it, I'm trying to find the essence of it, and I'm trying to really make it excellent, more excellent than it's ever been, and play my part better and play my part with Adam and Maynard and interact with them better and get the tempo better. And, there's always that striving for the next level, even of something you've done over and over again. I mean, we don't play with a click track or anything like that. So it's always a completely raw experience. And everyone's always in a different mood. Everyone's always in a different, their biology is different day to day. So you can't really make up how it's going to go on any particular night. So it's always a new experience, even if you're playing the same song.
Mm. I feel lucky because, as you mentioned, your Fear Inoculum tour touched down here just before COVID. And I feel lucky because Brisbane was one of the few cities to have ever heard you guys play the song Tempest. Am I correct in assuming
Uh,
that that might be one of the hardest, if not the hardest songs in your catalog to perform live?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was a kind of I guess that was more of a recording endeavor, where we kind of constructed something um, in the studio, almost like inside the box. It's not necessarily made to play live. We've tried a few times, and I think we played it in Auckland, I think, as well. We've played it a few times, but yeah, really challenging. And in the end, I think we just like we'll leave it for another day. We'll leave it as it is on the record. Um, and it's not necessarily like it's a bit of a spanner in the works in our set list, when we've done it, and the whole thing starts to revolve around that. So we just kind of like sometimes that happens with songs. We used to play Third Eye a lot, and that was similar, but I mean not even nearly as difficult as Tempest. Um, but it took a lot of like focus into everything focused into that song during the set list. And I think that's not necessarily always what we want to be doing. So that's just the way it's gone with that. We'll see what happens. I mean,
Fair enough. The last
yeah,
question before we finish up. Tool occasionally offers things like VIP experiences where people can pay a little extra to do things like watch sound checks and so
yeah.
forth. From your perspective as an artist, what do you get out of those experiences, Justin?
A little more money, to be honest. I mean, like this is our job. I was not a big fan of it to begin with. We'd heard other bands had done it, but basically there are people that want to do that and want to come and be close to you and want to have that experience, and they want to pay for it. And we're out on the road around the world working. This is our job. So why not? That goes both ways. You know what I mean? They get what they want. So I started embracing it. I was like, wow, you know what? Okay, these guys are here. They're paying a lot for this experience. We're doing a sound check. I started interacting with them. We started going out into the crowd, shaking people's hands, making the most of it, and making the experience worth what they're paying for it. Not just what they're paying for it, but actually, they get to meet us. They get to interact with us a little bit. Where during a show, that doesn't happen at all. The lights are down. We're just ripping. But during the sound check, they see a side of our sense of humor, and it's not forced. It's forced if you're up there and you've agreed to do it, but you don't want to do it. That's not cool. You know what I mean? So I got my head around it pretty quickly, and I really enjoy it now. And it's also part of the day when we're in any particular country or city. 4 o'clock sound check is another thing. You got to be there. You got to be on point. and these people are coming in, and you're going to interact with them, and it just it makes the whole experience for me even bigger.
Fantastic. Good attitude. I mean, it helps that you seem to be among the most sociable, if not the most sociable of the four members. So you probably came around to it quicker than the others, perhaps.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes you're tired, and you're like, oh, I wish, I don't want to do it, but you can't be because that's the job. You got to be on the ball, and then when you're ready and prepared for it, yeah, you could be sociable. I can actually interact with people and be myself, and it's really nice. It's nice and we've met people that there's people that come to that all the time. Super fans that are at every single one, and sometimes I'm in a hotel and the guy's sitting next to me in the restaurant, and I'm like, oh, it's you, and I end up talking to him, and guy's awesome, and it's just like it kind of is. Everything levels out, you know what I mean? Because there's always that weird barrier between the band and the fans, and I think in the VIP thing, it was really good for us when we started to, instead of just, playing and then walking off, we start go down and shake people's hands and stuff and just kind of, you know, dissipate the whole tension, you know. And it humbles you, you know what I mean? Like it makes it, it makes everything a little more normal. Now, like, I'm not saying that would make the show better. If we were doing our proper show with the lights down and we suddenly all started cracking jokes, it wouldn't really work. So it is a different thing, but it's fine. I enjoy it.